So for example, putting anti-inflammatory on the bottom of the foot, my daughter and all of her teenage friends realized that if they put it on the bottom of the feet before they go to bed, they wake up and their acne is gone. Their skin is totally clear.
Wow.
Yeah, it has kind of amazing systemic effects.
Hi, everybody. This is Diane Gilman, formerly known as the Queen of Jeans, but now the proud host of my podcast, Too Young to Be Old. And part of always remaining too young to be old is finding solutions to aging. If you had told me 2 months ago that I could put a little vial of oil on the bottom of my foot every night and take away about 20% of my arthritic pain, I would have said, oh yeah, sure. Guess what? It's true. And we have Jodi Cohen, founder of Vibrant Blue Oils, but also a best-selling author, an award-winning journalist, a nutritionist. Okay, Jodi, how have you had time to do all of this? I mean, seriously, you are like firing on all fronts, girl. I want to know, and we're going to get into what makes these oils work, because I had years of standing on hard concrete TV studio floors in high heels, 5-inch spike heels, pumps. I had a very, very heavy round of chemotherapy, another very heavy round of having, the whole x-ray thing, and on top of it, having all the lymph nodes under my left arm taken away. So lymphedema in my left arm, lymphedema in my right leg, weirdly enough, arthritis in my right knee, and I found gel shots. Yeah, they're good, but it wasn't only my knee, it was also my hip. And then you came along, and out of all the Vibrant Blue Oils, I take the anti-inflammation and the circulation, which is really good for older people like me. But I need to know, how did you get here? How did you develop Vibrant Blue Oils? Was it a personal journey for you?
Yes, well, like you, I am a seeker, and I'm constantly, whenever I'm faced with a new dilemma, and I've had the benefit of many, I go to curiosity, like, okay, I guess I get to learn something new. What do I get to
Yeah.
figure out now? And I originally got into nutrition. I like you, I went to Columbia. I lived in Manhattan for a decade. I ran around in stilettos. My body is now paying the price, but I'm figuring out how to, heal the ills of my past. But basically, I got into nutrition through my second child. My first child was super easy. I just foolishly thought it was my great parenting. And then I had number two, and he was really no impulse control, kind of, our big cue. We'd be like, look at my nose. He couldn't even focus on our nose. And one day we were at a birthday party, and my friend was complimenting me because he was actually very well behaved that day. And then the host passed out Ritz crackers, and he Jekyll Hyded. And she said,
Wow.
that's fascinating. My brother was on Ritalin his whole life, and it turned out he was allergic to weird foods. You should take him to a nutritionist. And I thought, I can totally do that. I've done everything else. Took him to a nutritionist. The nutritionist said, take him off corn, soy, and dairy. And we did. And the next day he could look at my nose. And I was so blown away because, parenting can be kind of a competitive sport. And when you have that kid that does those things, parents can be very mean. And I had no idea that it was just food. And so I went and got a degree in nutritional therapy and was really determined to help other moms because, the shaming, blaming, and guilt that goes on when your kid doesn't show up the way society suspects or expects is a lot.
Well, let me tell you, the shaming and guilt that you feel growing older and being imperfect, like now until my knee gets sorted out, but honestly, your oil has helped a lot. I walk with a cane, indoors and out. unlimited mobility, and people don't want to know about it. I mean, New York is this hard hitting, go, go, go kind of town.
Yeah.
And then me walking along with a cane, and people bypass you and bump into you. And I feel like also in talking to my doctor, who gives me a gel shot twice a year, they don't want to talk about anything that the hospital doesn't okay for them to provide. It is a money making service after all. So I asked her about oils. I don't know. I asked her about red light therapy. I don't know. I asked you about bariatric chambers, oxygen chambers. I don't know. So you have to, at a certain age, go outside of the golden rule of modern Western medicine, which is very prescribed and very much after the point, and really carve your way through it to find some solutions. Your vibrant blue oils have honestly been a very valid solution for me. So please talk to me. Two of them I don't understand at all. But the circulation, which is great if you're doing what I do and you're podcasting every day and you're sitting and you're not getting proper exercise. Anti-inflammation, oh my God, I could buy a gallon of this stuff at a time. Hi, it's Diane Gilman. Guess what? If you are in the same bucket I'm in, which is women over 50, and you're thinking to yourself, how do I find out the best products to use? Maybe you've heard me talk about Purity Woods, and maybe you've asked me, I don't know, Diane, why do you love it? I'll tell you. Your skin is your passport to your visual to the world. If your skin is glowy, if your skin is healthy, you just generally look younger and are treated as a more vibrant personality. Why do I like Purity Woods? 100% organic. There is so much pollution in the air, so much pollution even if I go to wash my face with tap water. So many chemicals. I truly appreciate products that not only feel pure, but the scent of Purity Woods is just unbelievably refreshing. So, you know what? Give it a try. Get a discount using the code in the caption. Purity Woods. I love these products, and two of my very favorites from Purity Woods are the makeup remover, the exfoliator, which is just sort of like magic. So also, ladies, remember one more thing. As we age past 50, we do not turn over our skin cells as quickly as we did in our 20s, 30s, or 40s. You need not only a great makeup remover, but you need a great exfoliator to urge new skin cells to come to the fore. Purity Woods, they've got it all. So explain to me how anti-inflammation works, how circulation works, and then we're going to talk about lymph. And someone said to me, don't mix two together. So, okay, not sure what's going to happen if you mix two together, but I'm listening.
I've been doing this for 13 years and I mix two together all the time. So before we get into why they work, just to explain what essential oils are.
Right.
Essential oils are the highly concentrated essence of plants. You go into the lavender field, you pick the lavender, you put it in a big vat, and then we don't boil it. We actually boil the water elsewhere and we steam distill. So we route the steam through. The steam lifts all the healing properties up, and then we take the steam and we cool that elsewhere.
Wow.
Oil and water don't mix. So you get a very small concentrated amount of oil and then the water, which is a hydrocell, which also has healing properties. But what people don't realize is the majority of pharmaceutical drugs were actually derived from plants. You know, the Native Americans taught the Pilgrims that white willow bark is aspirin. Valerian root is Valium. You know, we know from anti-inflammatory foods, ginger, turmeric, dill, all of these things kind of help our body function. And
Yeah.
humans and plants are very biofamiliar. So unlike pharmaceutical drugs that maybe, force us out of balance in an attempt to regulate, plants have this kind of adaptogenic property. It's like Goldilocks. It's never too hot or too cold. It's always just right and it meets you where you're at. And so it basically helps to gently nudge your body back into balance. So when you're taking the concentrated essence of basically this natural drug, it's a very powerful way to correct what's out of balance. And then what I've tried to do is create formulations that enhance circulation, support lymphatic drainage, enhance nervous system regulation. I'm just trying to gently get your body back into balance so that it heals itself. So
Me
all the
too.
obstacles are gone.
So I found, and for anybody out there, during October, it's not only Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but it's just Cancer Awareness Month, period. My body went way out of kilter with very strong chemotherapy for almost 8 months. And what really knocked me out was also the lack of lymphatic drainage because I had all my lymph nodes removed on my left side. Well, on top of that, I come right out of all that treatment and go right into 3.5 years of remote work with COVID, which means I'm not walking through airports. I'm not getting on airplanes. I'm not walking around a TV studio. And the lack of movement brought out an aggravated arthritis in my right knee. So everything I thought I had done right all my life, running twice a day, doing a ton of aerobics, gave me really serious mobility issues. So I tried a series of topicals. Most of them just had menthol in them and cooled the area down. But the menthol, because I was so sensitive after chemo, actually ate through my skin and gave me this open, gaping wound.
Oh my
Awful.
God.
Yeah, like something out of a horror movie. Then I discovered red light therapy, and I use that on my knee, and it's good. Maybe it helps 10%. But when I discovered your oils, I was ready for anything. It was like, this is not a way to live.
Yeah.
And the deal is, what we are given as a picture of health after
Right.
the age of 50, 55 is being given medicines to control existing conditions rather than solutions like better diet, non-inflammatory diet. So I didn't want to take drugs. And frankly, the hospitals were very like, well, you can live with pain or you can get a new kneecap. No, no more surgery, thanks. A double mastectomy was enough. And I'll live with a certain amount of the pain if more of it can be handled in a holistic way. So, what is in anti-inflammatory and what is in, look at these cute little things. And they've got a roller ball
Yeah.
delivery system, which means if you knock them over, they're not going to bleed out. They're not in any way irritating to my skin. And I asked Jodi, why do you put them? Or I suggest you put them on the bottom of your feet. So Jodi's going to explain.
So the bottom of the feet have a lot of kind of valuable attributes. So some oils are considered to be hot, meaning that if you put them in sensitive areas like your arm, it might feel warm, it might turn red. If that ever happens, you're just going to dilute it. You're going to go to your kitchen and grab your olive oil or your coconut oil and just dilute it that way. Don't combine it with water because that might make it worse. But the bottom of the feet, the skin is thicker. So even things like oregano, in my opinion, is the most stimulatory. You can put that on the bottom of the feet. The other attribute to the bottom of the feet is that there are reflex points on the bottom of the foot that correlate to the entire body. So for example, putting anti-inflammatory on the bottom of the foot, my daughter and all of her teenage friends realized that if they put it on the bottom of the feet before they go to bed, they wake up and their acne is gone. Their skin is totally clear.
Wow.
Yeah, it has kind of amazing systemic effects. People who have gut inflammation find that if they topically apply on the bottom of the feet, it helps with gut inflammation. I like you, lifetime runner, my knees are a little grumpy. I put it on the bottom of my feet before bed and I don't have, my knee net doesn't hurt. Sometimes my knee would, it wasn't restless leg, but my knee would just feel uncomfortable sometimes. Never
Yeah.
happens anymore. I'm able to sleep through the night.
I will tell you that I am an old girl, but of the modern age, that if it doesn't, don't tell me to wait 60 days to see a result.
Yeah.
I literally, by the second morning I had woken up, having put on the anti-inflammatory at night, I felt a difference. My knee was no longer a total focus of my life and a terror for every step I took where I put weight bearing on it. It felt like this particular kind of vibrant blue oil, the anti-inflammatory, worked well with the gel shot I get in my knee. And now the knee is not so much of a focus anymore. Now, for circulation,
Yeah.
which I think for all older people, you're running around less.
Yeah.
You still need that circulation. What is the primary source within the circulation oil? Why does that work? How does that work?
It's a combination. Black pepper is really powerful. If you think about, I know in New York you're not in freeway traffic, but for those of us that are driving, it's not uncommon. We're on a freeway. Theoretically, there are 4 or 5 lanes, but often there's one because there's construction, right? And so what happens, there's a backup going to that one lane. And then once we pass that one lane and we have access to the 4 lanes again, we move freely. The point I'm trying to make is that when your veins are constricted and there's not enough space, it impedes blood flow. And so what these oils are doing is to help vasodilate, which gives more space for the fluid to flow more easily.
I could feel it. I mean, seriously, I'm not saying this is replacing Western medicine. I'm not saying for me that it's replacing a gel shot in my knee, but you can only get those twice a year and they're not good for your cartilage. And so you really have to be very conservative with it. This stuff works.
It works really well. Yeah, and there's a lot of research. There's black pepper in there, and there's a supplement formulator, Datis Karazian, who adds black pepper to all of his formulations because it finds that it vasodilates, and so therefore helps distribute the remedies throughout the body. My favorite use for the circulation, I sometimes put it on the back of my neck if I need to focus. It really helps me get work done. Or my kids used to do night skiing. I get up at 6. By like 9 o'clock, I'm tired. So driving home at 11 at night, my, old person eyes are not wonderful. Instead of coffee, I would put that on my neck or I would smell it. Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. You put it on where your lymph nodes are.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
because the neck gets constricted, and so sometimes blood flow to the brain is compromised. And when you can enhance blood flow to the brain, you can alleviate brain fog and help with focus and all of those things.
So the one that I didn't use, because the other two I don't understand the titles at all, but you're going to explain it to me.
I will.
Lymph. So several people said to me, "Oh, don't try more than one at a time." So it was like, well, okay. Anti-inflammatory at night, circulation in the morning. But
if someone said to you, of your makeup, only pick one thing, only do mascara or eyeliner, don't do them all. You combine them because the combination is what yields the effect. So they have different functions. The lymph nodes, there's a cluster of lymph nodes on the back of your knee. So if you start to topically apply that on the back of the knee and on the hips. Your lymph is basically your waste management system, and your
Yeah.
body is your aquarium, right? And if the aquarium water isn't clean, the fish get sick. So if the water in your body is stagnant and not flowing, the good things don't get in, the bad things don't get out. So the bottleneck points are the neck, a third of your lymph nodes are in your neck, all your lymph flows through your clavicle. So there's this man, Perry Nickerson, who talks about the big six, the big places that lymph gets congested. And of the things that you can do for your health, some are very easy, drink water. Some are much more complicated. Lymph is on the more complicated side. So I think people are afraid to do it wrong, so they do nothing. So this blend is designed, you just put it on your clavicles, on the side of your neck. Truthfully, like that turkey gobble that you may get when you get older, that's congested lymph. So this is a little bit of an easy facelift.
Wow. So I put it on here.
Yeah,
I
and then you can do the arms. I would
yeah.
do the hip area and behind the knee. So you're
Okay.
just opening up the congestion points. So, oftentimes pain is fluid that isn't moving. That's what
Yes.
inflammation is. It
Yeah.
swells. So if we can just help the lymph naturally flow out, we alleviate that congestion and that swelling, and it hurts less.
Okay. So I'm a little afraid to put it on my underarms because one of them was a point of surgery and had all the lymph
So just
moved.
put it on the one that it wasn't up. You just
Still have it. And
yeah.
should I put it on the back of my knees?
Yeah, back of your knees for you. That will be huge. We
Okay.
did. I'm 55. I'll be 56 in a month, and my husband and I went to Positano. Where they said this is not for old people, and we foolishly did that. Path of the Gods hike, which was beautiful. And then you're supposed to take the bus down, but it was 107, and there was a long line. So it's like, oh, we can walk. Let's just walk. And I'm like, great idea. Until we got like a mile down the stairs, and I realized I just signed up for 3 miles of downhill on stairs, which my knees
Woo!
do not appreciate. We got back to that hotel, and I was like, I wonder if I'm ever going to walk again. But I put the lymph behind the back of my knees, and I put our fascia release on the front of my knees. And I was shocked because not only did I feel better immediately, but suddenly it was easier to go downstairs. Like I almost feel like, what you were saying earlier, that they assume that, age is a slow decline. I don't know if that's true. I think that there are ways that we can support our body so we can almost Benjamin Button and,
I am
improve.
on board with that. I'm totally in a belief syndrome where if you just go to the golden rule of Western medicine, you are going to be in a decline in old age. If you marry folk remedy and you marry holistic explanations with that golden rule, because I have a young doctor who gives the knee shot, and I said at some point I had a guest who had a red light device. I used it. I thought it was really worth recommending, and I asked the doctor about it. Now she's an orthopedist, she should know about red light. She refused to answer me because the hospital doesn't do red light. Therefore, they could get sued if she gave an answer because she's part of the hot. I mean, it's a ridiculous syndrome of protecting the medical community, making money off you as a patient, but not giving you a full view of everything at your disposal. So this leads me to my next question, which is, yeah, what is fascia release, Joni? Because Jodi, I thought fascia was like your face in Italian. What is fascia release?
Fascia is everything. It is the web of connective tissue that holds you together. So yes, it does play a role in collagen, but what we don't realize is that often, this is actually funny. When I first started yoga, when my daughter started kindergarten, a friend was like, oh, there's a new studio, come. And I loved it. And all of a sudden my knee was spasming, and I went to my orthopedist, and he was like, oh, we might need to do an MRI. You might need surgery. Don't do this for a while. And I came back and told the yoga instructor, and she was like, no, this is your fascia. Go see my body worker. I didn't even know what a body worker was. I was like, am I
Well,
going? weird commune. Like it was so interesting. And she basically said, no, your fascia's tight. You're stretching it in new ways. Let's just release it. So think about it. If you've ever held someone's hand when they're getting a shot or something, they're squeezing and there's no flow, there's no circulation. So our fascia, we brace for impact, right? This, what is kind of, fetal position. The world can be scary. Someone can be yelling at us. We can turn on the news and see something that alarms us. We could watch horror movies. We're constantly like clenching to protect our core.
Yeah.
My little puppy got attacked by a raccoon. He's okay because the raccoon only got the back. If it got the core, that's where all the organs are. That would have been much worse. So we as humans are super smart. We're protecting all of our core organs, our heart, our intestines, but we kind of stay in that clenched position. And so we might have like neck pain or back tension. And the other thing that happens is that the fascia is very intertwined with the nervous system and the lymph. So if you're trying to drain your lymph, but your fascia is clenched, especially in your back, it's not going to let the lymph flow. And so anything we can do to release that, like red light's really good because it penetrates tissues. There are great fascia release practitioners. And I realized, you can't go, I have a great one, but it's expensive. And maybe I'm lucky if I go once a week. So this is really amazing for any kind of tension or pain. The
And
other
do
thing
you
that
put it on the spot where you feel
with this one, I'm like, wherever it hurts, just put it on. My, my My
my
80-year-old dog walker loves this. She's like, she basically wants to bathe in it too. She's like, I hurt my knee. I'm afraid I can't work. And I'm like, that's fine. Try this. She's like, oh my God, it's better immediately. It's
my
really,
therapist talks about fascia all the time. It says that
yeah,
my lame leg is it's so clinched up and so tight
yeah,
that all the painful exercises we do are to stretch the fascia. So where I know it's the tightest,
yeah.
put on a little of this
Well,
topically.
and for women, as estrogen begins to decline, our hips get tight. Like I've noticed in yoga, there are certain things I can't do. I can't do those squats anymore. So I just put it on the hip creases and it's kind of immediate and amazing. And then fascia, the issues are in our tissues emotionally, especially as women. We like give all the time, like, oh, you don't like your dinner here, have mine. Oh, you need a ride somewhere, let me cancel my appointment. Oh, you're calling, let me get off the other line. We're constantly giving to other people and we don't receive. And the back of our heart is where we receive. So even topically applying this on the back of your heart allows more support to come to you because you're able to receive it.
You know, these oils, and I have one last one to ask you about.
Yeah.
They are truly, to me, the essence of self-care. One of the reasons I got breast cancer is I was such a crowd pleaser.
Yep.
And I wasn't part of the crowd. I
Yeah.
was a pleaser. And so I was always pleasing everybody else, missing TV shows, not being able to travel. That was unconscionable. So I allowed that cancer to develop and I was in really toxic situations. These oils, and I am an of the moment kind of girl. If it doesn't work in a few days, it's just not for me. Maybe it's for someone else who's more patient. But oils are the real, well, almost everybody in the world is more patient than me. These oils are the real deal. And so if I'm using during a day
Hmm.
the anti-inflammatory,
Yeah.
the circulation,
Yeah.
and the lymph,
Yeah.
can I come in some days and use a parasympathetic?
Yeah, absolutely. So what the parasympathetic does, so your autonomic nervous system controls all your automatic functions, the things you do without thinking about it. Breathing, heart rate, immune system, detoxification, and it has two gears. Kind of there is danger, we must allocate resources towards survival. That's known as your fight or flight or sympathetic nervous
Yeah,
system. And the danger is past, it's safe to heal. That is known as your parasympathetic nervous system. Most of us get stuck, especially in New York, as we're in Fairway, elbow checking people out of our way in the fight or flight sympathetic state, and we're not able to downregulate. So it is our vagus nerve, cranial nerve number 10, that is the gear shift between danger and safety. Safety is where we restore and heal. Anatomically, it starts at the back of the head, splits, and is most accessible here, behind your earlobe on your mastoid bone. There are actually FDA-approved surgically implanted devices that stimulate the vagus nerve here, and it's been approved for epilepsy, depression, and migraines. You can also use a stimulatory oil. I call it parasympathetic. It's clove and lime. You can carry it in your purse. It takes like a second or two to apply right behind the earlobe. And it's amazing to shift you out of that danger response, which is also, if we're being honest, that anxiety, overwhelm, panic response. Your body, if you can contemplate the fate of the universe when you're trying to survive, you're not going to survive. You need to hyper focus on the danger, anxiety. So this is a great way to shift you out. And you can use that all the time because it's
I should have had that. Yeah, UN week. Now, where I have to go every Tuesday for my hair and my nails and my lashes and my this and my beauty glam squad is 1 block away from Trump Tower and directly down the road from the UN. During UN week, when you are stuck in a car and the city tells you that the average miles per hour of a vehicle traveling is 2 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Maybe. Oh,
yeah.
I don't know what those balloons are. I kind of love them, but I never know when they're happening. That's when this parasympathetic oil would have been great, when you're sitting in that car freaking out that you're going to be 2 hours late for your appointment and the police probably aren't going to let you out of the car anyway. The last one, so I did not try the parasympathetic, but I'm going to. The fascia release sounds like, for me, right up my alley. I think as we age, that fascia, which is almost like a coverage over muscles, is something that contracts and gets very tight. And boy, the pain I go through once a week with a great physical therapist is monumental to get that to loosen up. And for me, you talk about fight or flight, but for me, it's active equals pain, piercing pain. Inactive equals no pain. So, of course, your body tends to want to remain inactive, which is the wrong thing to do and go for no pain. But with the fascia release, it sounds like where I need to put it, I'm going to be able to know almost immediately, oh, this is huge.
Yeah.
I will.
And it just, again, it gives you more space, right? Like pain is because you're constricted. If you just open it up a little bit, and titrate it, obviously, when I was training for the New York Marathon, they're like, you're not going to run 26 miles on your first training run, like ease into it. But
Well, I will tell you that when you named this vibrant, I think it's all about aging vibrantly. I'm not going to lie to my audience. There are definitely aches and pains. I was so completely Pollyannistic as a younger woman, and I thought, okay, so you age, and the only thing that happens to you is your hair turns gray. No, no, a lot of aches and pains. When it gets colder, I get achier and have more pains. But I am not going to keep asking the Western medicine doctors for ways out, because even after chemotherapy, they gave me pills to kill several different kinds of medicine to kill all the estrogen in my body, which is going to give you pain to begin with, having the lack of estrogen. And it brought on the symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis. I thought I finally called the hospital in tears and said, I'm going to be in a wheelchair in a week if we don't find a solution. They had no solution. They gave me zero alternatives except one or two more drugs that basically did the same thing. And I eventually had to give that up. And as a private citizen who knows nothing about medicine, had to go out on my own and start discovering. Now, for me, doing podcasts and doing them on a focus of 50 and older and what you can do to improve your life, holistic forms of medicine like vibrant blue oils, it now is going to become and has actually become an everyday part of my life. Oh, yeah, girl. When I see something that works, I am all in. So all I can say is, Jodi, that this product that you've created is very direct, is very solution oriented. You don't have to be a scientific brainiac to use it. The only thing I have to say is, I smell like a pharmacy.
Oh, that's funny. I think you get used to it, and it,
But with
the
other
reason
people,
the bottom of the feet, I joke we saved a lot of marriages because sometimes my customer is married to somebody who doesn't like smell. My husband doesn't like smell. So you can always wear socks. So if you put it on the bottom of the feet, other people don't smell it.
and then I'll do it in the morning where I put on a sock.
Yep,
But
exactly.
I'm just warning those of you out there that are thinking, I might try this and consume it. There is definitely an odor factor to it. But I'll tell you what, if I had to choose between a little odor and a much bigger sense of comfort for the pain areas in my body. And I'm almost 80, and I now at 79 years old, it's easier to say almost 80. I feel I can't fool around anymore. I don't take any drugs. I had high blood pressure. I solved the problem and changed my diet. I had high cholesterol. That went right along with the diet change. And so my body is still very responsive when you give it the right thing to respond to. And I will tell you what, vibrant blue oils are the right thing. And I've convinced at least two more people that I know suffering from aches and pains and actually a bit of neuropathy in the bottom of their foot to try oils as a solution. And they are also saying, wow. And for me, it really makes a difference. I'm not sitting in a doctor's office waiting to be told I have to ingest a pill and I'm probably going to have to take it for the rest of my life. And I love homeopathic solutions like this. They're very private. They're very, you are in control,
Yes.
the recipient. They're very comforting. And
And you can take them anywhere. They fit in your pocket, in your purse. You
there
can take
is
them
that.
on the airplane. One thing I do want to say about smell, it's so fascinating to me. Like, you know how when it was that time of month, you'd crave chocolate. Or
Yeah.
like when I was pregnant, because you needed magnesium, I would crave hamburgers because I needed iron. I think that your body naturally knows what it needs. And so when you need a blend, it smells delicious to you. And when you like, we have a gallbladder one that I really do think is a one bottle solution. It helps make the bile less viscous. When you need that, oh my God, it's heaven. And then when you are done, when you don't need it anymore, it doesn't smell bad. It's just not as desirable. So even though they do have a smell, you tend to crave that smell. If your body
I,
needs it, it will smell good to you.
that is so weird. You know what my brain thinks after I put the oil on?
Huh.
You've done a good job, Diane. This is a good thing. My brain is actually just automatically saying that to me. And so it's become a total part of my nighttime regime and my early morning regime. And it's like, oh, good girl, you're on your regime. This is it. My body instantly knew
Yeah.
these oils were friendly, that
Yeah.
these were going to have a beneficial effect and help me. It is amazing. So I could talk to you forever about this, but you will know that I am coming back for a reorder of this stuff. I have incorporated it in my life. First time I've ever used any kind of homeopathic oil like this. And, bravo to you, Jodi Cohen, and bravo to Mother Nature for providing it. Thank you so much. We will list in a link everything Jodi Cohen and how you can get in touch, how you can see her website, and how you can make a decision for yourself whether you too want to try to incorporate more than just prescribed medicinal help into your life. I highly recommend it, but that's just me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. They made my aging process easier, honestly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Too Young to Be Old podcast. The episode may be over, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at The Diane Gilman, or visit our website, thedianegilman.com. If you like the show, leave us a rating or a review and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And until then, don't forget, age is just a number. Together, we'll prove that we are all too young to be old.